Before watching this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and activate the little bell to see more life reflections. Dogs have amazing instincts. They know when things are going right or going wrong, and they keep impressing me more and more every day with their touching love stories. Only pictures of this heartwarming story are available, but no more is needed. Later on, you will understand why, because just by looking at them, we will immediately understand what the protagonists of this story were going through. They will transmit many feelings, sorrow or joy. But the purpose of knowing this story is to teach us all a great lesson of life. And I hope that if you like it, do not hesitate to share it with everyone you know. John Vincent is an elderly man, resident of the USA. Some time ago, he started to feel worse and worse. So he had to be admitted to a palliative care center. But he was not alone. He had a best friend who accompanied him everywhere. And more than a friend, he was an important member of his family. And I mean nothing more and nothing less than a cute little dog named Patch. When John was admitted to the hospital, he had no choice but to say goodbye to his faithful pet, even though he loved him with all his heart. He simply couldn't take care of him as he deserved, as he had to lie in a hospital bed. So Albuquerque Animal Welfare, an animal shelter, offered to take care of Patch. I would love for everything to be rosy, but life is sometimes complicated and unexpected. John took a turn for the worse, and due to his advanced age, he didn't have much longer. This is really sad, but what the care center workers along with the shelter volunteers did is truly beautiful. And also that these two friends could enjoy their last days together. The care center named Raymond James Murphy contacted the shelter telling them about the situation and asking if they could take Patch for a visit to see his owner one last time. The volunteers didn't hesitate even for a second. They said yes right away, commented Danny Navarez, the director of Albuquerque Animal Welfare. They agreed one day and took Patch on a long drive to the care center. The dog looked extremely happy. He really enjoyed sticking his head out the window and getting the wind breeze on his face with his tongue out. But when he was a few blocks from the medical center, his face changed immediately. Dogs figure things out before we do. They have a knack for understanding what is going on, and even what will happen. It's like they see into the future. I say this because when Patch was near his beloved owner, his face automatically changed. He started sniffing and realized he was close to him. But seconds later, he started whimpering. Although he didn't know where they were taking him, he realized he was going to John, and besides that, he was in his last moments. Patch was taken to his father's room, and the pictures they took of him together speak for themselves. He was reunited with the person he loved so much, and a huge smile spread across their faces. They kept hugging each other, and Patch licked John with all his energy. It was clear that he missed him very much, and besides that, he realized his best friend did not have much time left to live. So, as soon as he saw him, he wanted to give him all the love he could in case tomorrow he was no longer there. Seeing this, several of the people present could not hold back their tears and coordinated for him to spend the whole day with John. I would like to emphasize this because in many places, pets are prohibited without taking into account that many owners have very strong bonds with their pets, and more than animals, they see them as any other member of the family. So we should all congratulate the members of Albuquerque Animal Welfare and the Raymond James Murphy Care Center for letting this sweet dog see his loved one, ignoring the rules that prohibit animals in places like these. Without a doubt, their work deserves all the admiration in the world. Unfortunately, the next day, they had to say goodbye, and Patch returned to the shelter with much sadness. But it would not be for long. His story spread throughout the shelter and reached a volunteer with a lot of conviction and love, knew what he had to do. He approached Danny Navarez and told him that he wanted to adopt Patch, and his reasons for adopting him are even more touching. He told him that he wanted to give the best life possible to this little animal, and he refused the idea of Patch being left alone without an owner and spending his last years in a cage. They did all the paperwork, and Patch was officially adopted. The cute little dog was very happy with his new dad and his new home. But this volunteer wasn't just going to stay that way. John was still at the care center, so he promised to visit them and Patch as often as necessary. For the same reason, he refused to let John spend his last moments alone. I don't know the name of that volunteer, but I admire him greatly. Not many people do things like this, and no doubt all the love he gives to others will be rewarded. The reflection of this story is the following. As I said at the beginning, dogs have the ability to realize things before we do, something that makes them unique and very special. Nowadays, people only care about themselves, and if Patch had been adopted by someone else, he would probably never see John again. But thanks to the huge heart of his new father, he will be able to visit him until his last days. It may be a sad thing to imagine, but not many people go to the trouble of doing what this person did. The lesson of this video is to be more empathetic to others. The world does not revolve around us, and many people need to realize that, as they seem to live in a bubble where only they matter. Also, this video reminds us all that puppies bring joy wherever they go. When Patch and John were together, they were both extremely happy. They kept smiling, and it certainly reminds me that dogs, besides being amazing pets, can be therapeutic. It's not for nothing that many dogs visit people who are sick or going through bad times in their lives. Just by hugging them and spending a few minutes with them, they can heal the heart and make even the saddest person in the world happy.